Right, on to our daily financial update. Been at it since about 5 this morning. Got a good workout in. Done a couple of just content videos, and now we're going to do our daily financial update. And the first one I got to jump into. It's again, as I told you yesterday, the day before. I can't wait until we're not talking about the trade war anymore. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be some time, like lots of time, like till the next election time. So it looks like the trade war negotiations are supposed to start today, Thursday. They were originally scheduled for 2 days. Then one of China's powerful people said, "Nope, I'm leaving early," and then it's like, "Nope, I'm staying. Nope, I'm leaving." So who knows what's going on? Basically, this is the dance that I kind of warned you was going to happen, or at least I thought was going to happen, because I don't think any, I don't think either side right now I don't think either side wants to get a deal done. I think both sides need a deal, right? All the stats coming out of China shows an economy that is struggling, where um, their population is paying more and more food, higher food prices, and they don't have high incomes, at least on average. So it is hurting their economy. I don't think there's any question this trade war is hurting the American consumer and the American business. But again, as two, I don't know, strong negotiators sitting across the table, I don't think either one wants to get a deal done. I really don't. And again, and part of that's I'm not really sure what a win looks like, and all of those things. Um, I put in the title, I think, free speech isn't free, because it looks like, three American, I don't know if I'll call them companies. I don't know if the NBA is a company, but three, publicly visible organizations basically relented to China in the last week or so. So first off, you have Apple, right? Apple had an app in their app store that helped Hong Kong protesters track police. Kind of like what we have with Waves, I'm guessing. I didn't see it, I just read about it, where you could probably put on a map where the police are so you could move, right? Get out of the way. Um, China didn't like that and rattled its saber, and Apple took it down. Then you have Activision, which, if you don't know who it is, that's a video game maker for simplicity's sake. And one of their, I don't know, I guess I'll call them players, was wearing I don't know, a respirator, I guess, which is very common in Hong Kong given the tear gas and just nastiness in the air. And China didn't like that, so Activision took them down. And then, of course, we have the NBA, which I've now talked about for 2 or 3 days because, again, a 144 character tweet might take the NBA out of China, right? It seems to be going that direction. First, all preseason games are no longer telecast. Then you have all these Chinese companies canceling relationships with the NBA, and now the NBA is backpedaling because China is a huge market, right? And they've had great success in China since Yao Ming and the like. Um, the NBA is huge in China. One little tweet in support of Hong Kong protesters has undone millions and hundreds of millions worth of business. And now we have individuals in the NBA not wanting to speak up anymore, right? One of the things that I have respected about the NBA was their athletes, right? Their brands can speak their mind, and a lot of them are, right? They're standing up for injustices and hatred and racism and all of these things in the U.S. They're very public, but one little tweet about supporting the protesters in Hong Kong from a general manager, not even a player, blows up the relationship, and now no NBA players want to talk about what's going on. What are you supposed to take from that, right? I'm a season ticket holder, and um, I support your rights of free speech and your rights to have opinions, even if they're different than mine. That's great. That's the American way, right? But now to realize that you can be muted because somebody's going to you know, it's not free. Free speech isn't free. Free speech is something that makes the America great, and it's worth fighting for. And that's it's sad to see all of them now not speaking up. That's disappointing in my opinion. So free speech isn't free. It's not supposed to be. On to other subjects because that one just makes me upset. Goldman actually cut Cisco. Cisco, the technology maker, not Cisco, the trucking company, because trade uncertainty and businesses are cutting spending. I think if you can look at Cisco systems as a tech bellwether, which I do, if they were cutting Cisco networking gear, right? Who else? Right? This trade war is going to be carrying weight. So if they're already looking at cutting Cisco systems, kind of who's next? On the positive side, looks like Costco, right? The large, I don't know, what would you call them? I was going to say grocery store, but that's not, they really sell everything. Discount warehouser, I guess. Same store sales were up 4.2 versus an expectation of 3.8. So again, another sign the consumer is strong, the consumer is spending. That's really cool. General Motors actually put out some numbers I tracked today. Their shipments in China are down 17.5%. So the trade war is hurting GM with shipments in China, which probably means it's hurting other automakers. So you can make that connection. Not to mention GM is still having their UAW strike, which is now, I think, on day 25. That just sucks. That's got to hurt. And then again, the U.S. has ratcheted up pressure on China. They not only blacklisted 28 companies, which I talked about yesterday, which is causing, for example, Goldman Sachs to potentially back out of a IPO or financing with one of those companies. But we've also put visa restrictions on Chinese citizens who are accused of atrocities and human rights violations. Again, freedom's not free, people. So sometimes we got to stand up and say it's not okay. So that's going on, which again is really the reason the back on again, off again trade war discussions going on. And then lastly, I just saw breaking news that consumer prices are unchanged for the month, which is really interesting because it looks like food and rent are up, but gas and trucking are down. So net was even. The reason I brought this one up is I think the Fed will absolutely be lowering rates on the 30th. Everybody out there is talking about a quarter rate cut. I'm standing by my half a percent cut. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think the news between now and then lets them do that. Inflation is in check. Demand is sketchy. But again, if they do a quarter point now, they'll do a quarter point the next meeting. But I'm just trying to see how good I am and call for a half a point cut. So that's what I have for the daily news. Interesting times, trade wars. The consumer still appears strong, right? Costco, business investment getting weak, which I think we've known about with Cisco, and I think the Fed has every point to lower rates, right? Inflation's in check. It was zero. So in the end, have a great day. I'm going to go to Flip Hacking Live and might do a video later in the day. Take care, everybody. Have